News Channel 8. This is News Talk with Bruce DePoint.
Hi, everybody. Welcome in on this Thursday. Great to have you with us today. We've got a fantastic lineup for you. We will take you to the Nationals press conference as they make the hiring of Dusty Baker official as it happens. Right now, though, our monthly one-on-one with D.C. Council Chairman Phil Mendelson. It's great to see you. Good to have you
here.
in.
Thanks, Bruce.
So much for your time. The press conference is going to start momentarily. I'm going to dive right in so that we can make as much progress as we can. Good to have you with us, by the way. Can you give us some of your thinking about the issues that city officials are wrestling with right now as we draw closer to winter, and the goal, of course, being to make sure that there aren't families out there with no place to go. The contours of what that housing should look like. Talk to us about the discussion that's underway. Sure. Some of the factors that are underway. Briefly.
Sure, and we had a debate about this at the council meeting on Tuesday. What we're all trying to do, and I say all, I mean the council, the mayor, the Department of Human Services, is to get families out of D.C. General, which was originally a hospital and was really not designed to house homeless families. That's not something that's going to happen this month or this year or even, I think, early next year. But in order to empty D.C. General, what we want are replacement buildings where families can be placed in shelter. And there are several strategies at work, but what we debated the other day was that should these new facilities, which will be smaller and spread throughout the city, should each room have a private bath and maybe even like full apartment style? And the thinking has been generally, no, it shouldn't be full apartment style. Really what we want to do is focus on getting people through the system, out of the system, rather than how do we perpetuate them or just allow them to continue to be in the system.
Mr. Chairman, stand by for just
Sure.
a moment. We want to take viewers to Nats Park, where Dusty Baker is being introduced as the new manager of the Washington Nationals.
Columbia and Washington, D.C. Welcome.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Mike.
It is a really important day for the Nationals. It's a day that we're really looking forward to, and going forward, moving forward with a man of the leadership qualities of Dusty, and a man with his impeccable resume, the way he handles players, the success rate that he's had at other stops. We're looking for bigger and better things than we've ever had here in Washington, D.C. Also would like to welcome your wife and children to the area. They couldn't be with us today, but they're in our hearts, and we can't wait to have them as members of the community. And without further ado, Johnny B. Dusty Baker Jr.
Thank you. Well, thanks for having me. I'll tell you, this is a big occasion in my life and in my family's life. My son and daughter and wife are very, very excited. My son gave me a whole list of Nationals shirts and jackets and jerseys and things that he wanted, and he's looking forward to to being on the Nationals. And it was my wife and my son that really helped me make up my mind, to accept and take this job, because I had their total blessing. And they know that I had a burning desire to succeed in my heart that wasn't filled in my life. And you hate to, have voids in your life. I mean, you can live without them, but I'd rather not. And I've always thought about possibly managing here, in the district in Washington D.C. And there's a lot of people that I recognize here in this room that I've known for a number of years. I got some family in this room. My godchildren are here in Maryland, and so it's like a family. It's like coming home, to a family, and this is what the learners are all about. It's about family, and I'm about family, and sticking close together, and a common goal and a common end. And so I'm looking forward to it, to come into this area, and I'd like to thank the Lerner family and, for accepting me and making me feel, very comfortable here in Washington. And I have high hopes and dreams and aspirations, and I just know that, they will be filled here.
Should we make it official?
Let's do it.
Sure.
Over there. Okay, that's fine. Let's go over here by the sign. Hat, jersey.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Dusty. We have microphones circulating on either side of the room. Please wait for a microphone before asking your question, and please be sure to state your name and affiliation.
Bill Latson, MLB.com. Congratulations, Dusty.
I don't think it's on, Bill.
Okay. Congratulations, Dusty. Bill Latson, MLB.com. Dusty, this could arguably be the best team you ever managed. You have Bryce Harper, Strasburg, and Zimmerman. Could you talk about the potential of managing those guys?
Well, this is my fourth and final team, and beyond compare, I mean, this is the best talent. That's why I was excited about coming here. And most of the other teams that I had were either on the bottom or near the bottom, and had to rebuild them, from the bottom. And so I asked a friend of mine, Al Addles, is with the Warriors. I said, Al, how come I always get teams and have to build them up? And he says, Dusty, you do more with less. And I told him that I was ready to do more with more. And so, I'd like to try that. They have some great talent here. They have young talent here. They have, some mixture of youth and experience at the same time. And I've always liked that formula. The youth, give you energy. They do crazy stuff, and like your kids, they give you energy. And hopefully the veteran players can give some of the wisdom and knowledge that they've acquired, over the years, both on the field and off the field.
Questions?
Dusty, Peter Schmuck, Baltimore Sun. Congratulations.
Thank you, man.
Dusty, you've played and managed probably 99% of your career in the National League. Two questions. One, are you just a National League guy? And two, you made sort of mention of in your opening comments, you won a World Series. You played in several World Series as a player. Is this the void you want to fill? Is the winning the World Series as a manager?
Well, yeah, that's the exact void I wanted to fill, because I haven't missed much in my life. I've been pretty fortunate and blessed in my life. The only thing I've missed in my life are, like I tell people, I signed out of high school. My parents got divorced, so I missed being a big man on a college campus, and I missed the love of grandparents because they both died, before I was born, and the only thing left is, the championship. And Pete, what was your first part of your question again? Oh, the National League. Well, I don't know if I'm a National League guy or not. I guess I am because, I've never had the opportunity, to manage in the American League. I would have liked to have tried some point in time, but, I think it's a little older brand of ball. You don't have to do quite as much. I mean, there's always just the things that you have to do, namely managing people, but I just don't consider myself old enough yet.
The new manager of the Washington Nationals, Dusty Baker, he played for 4 teams during his playing days. He played for Atlanta, Oakland, San Francisco, and for the Los Angeles Dodgers. And this is his 4th stop as a manager. You heard him say, this is the 4th and final stop. This is the last stop I'll make as a manager. He coached the Reds. He managed the Giants, of course, to the World Series. And he was manager of the Chicago Cubs. Now he comes to Washington with what Mike Rizzo described as high expectations. And Baker himself talked about having high hopes and dreams and aspirations for this, his 4th and final team. He likes the mixture of youth and experience that the Nationals have. At 66, he'll be one of the older managers in baseball, but the learners obviously like what he brings to the table. Their first choice, of course, was Bud Black, but they couldn't reach a contract settlement with him, and so they quickly turned to Dusty Baker. He accepted, and he'll be in the Nationals dugout come April of 2016. Live coverage for you here on News Channel 8. Let's go straight back to our conversation, our monthly one-on-one with the chairman of the D.C. Council, Phil Mendelson. There have been some parallels, Chairman Mendelson, with the Metro situation. Although the Nationals moved quickly to fill their vacancy, it was interesting to watch at almost the same moment Metro pick someone, not be able to close the deal, and for them resume the search. The Nationals couldn't sign Bud Black, went after Dusty Baker, got him. Thoughts on any of this?
Well, yeah, there might be some parallels, but they're really very different dynamics between a national sports franchise and dealing with a public transit system, one of the largest in the countries. One of the difficulties that we have with WMATA is that it's 3 states, Maryland, Virginia, and the district, and each of them has equal vote on the Metro board, and they have to come to agreement, and that's been difficult for a number of months. As we all know, there was a first choice a week ago, 2 weeks ago, and that person dropped out. A lot of intense scrutiny that could make it difficult to attract somebody, and then WMATA right now is in a very difficult place in terms of ridership confidence, and in terms of having their financial house in order, and a system that has gotten old without maintaining itself well. A lot of challenges, an awful lot of challenges. I think, frankly, that's attractive to some people, but it also makes the search more difficult.
Metro has been criticized for the pace of this process. Richard Sarles gave notice on September 24th, 2014. So arguably, some of the groundwork could have been laid then. He left in January, and Metro's had an interim ever since.
Yeah.
The agency and the board is drawing very strong criticism from people who are usually defenders of the agency, and it's bipartisan. Do you identify with the criticism? Terry McAuliffe said it would be comical if it weren't so harmful to the region and the region's economy. Chris Van Hollen yesterday here called the Metro board the gang that can't shoot straight. I mean, do you agree that it's been significantly too long?
I think some of the comments have been a bit too strident. There's some truth in it, but you know, the board today is different than the board a year ago. And a year ago, when Richard Sarles gave notice, the board was proceeding as it always had, and they were going to get a new transit official, somebody with a lot of transit experience. And it wasn't until January when the District of Columbia chief financial officer realized, in going through our own financial audit report, realized that there's a mess over there financially, and that board didn't seem to fully appreciate the gravity of the situation. It's a different board now, and it became clear, and Mayor Bowser, I give her credit for this, recognized that we needed at Metro somebody more than just your standard transit official, somebody who actually can turn around an organization. So it's taken a while for the region to get together with this realization, and it's certainly the board a year ago didn't get it, that we can't continue in the old way. So things are changing, and but it's a huge challenge.
Talking with D.C. Council Chairman Phil Mendelson. We'll take a break. We are, though, back with much more right after this.